Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, did you? I was just going to say I haven't been wearing makeup or I had my hair done all day, and about half an hour ago I got ready to see you.
Yeah.
So you're
I
welcome.
have not done
And
anything to my face or my hair in like 4 weeks, and I really need my daughter to go to school on Monday faster. I need money to be here faster
yeah,
so I can like brush it all up. But I'm here and I'm really
yeah.
excited to talk to you.
That's it. Well, you look gorgeous. I must say, you do. You absolutely look gorgeous. And thank you so much for coming on today. What I really want to start with, because there will be some of our listeners out there who don't know you, if they've been living under a rock for the last,
I know.
5, 10 years. But I just want you to tell our listeners, how would you kind of describe yourself and your work?
Yeah, my name is Felicia Day, and I'm known mostly as an actor in genre content, but also as someone who was very early in the internet content world.
Mhm.
I'm also an author, and I do a lot of stuff with video games. So I'm very multi hyphenate and probably one of the first like creator people on the internet. And I just keep making stuff. I'll do it until no one lets me do it anymore, and then I'll still do it because the wonderful thing is you get to just make stuff nowadays. So yeah, people know
Yeah.
me from so many different things, mostly probably supernatural because that's probably the biggest, longest job that I had, and I'm really, really proud of it.
Yeah, I was going to say about Supernatural. So your character obviously became like a fan favorite, right? Charlie Bradbury. What do you think it was about Charlie that audiences connected to?
Well, I think the supernatural has maybe a majority of female watchers, although it's pretty balanced. But I will say that there are a lot of women out there who don't feel represented in media. There's not a lot of women who are imperfect looking or a little bit quirky or especially nerdy. And I think Charlie kind of fit the bill and really allowed the people who love Supernatural to identify with the character in a real, not cliched way. Charlie is very three dimensional. I feel so lucky to have played her. And she has so many aspects to her. And when she appeared on the show, it always kind of was a Charlie centered episode for the most part. And that really allowed, the fans of the show to be in the show. And that's what I feel like Charlie represents. And even to this day, I can't name a character on another show that really has that sort of energy and vibe. And I miss it because that's who I am in real life. I'd love another Charlie somewhere else, or I'd just like to be Charlie again.
Well, it sounds like you kind of are Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing
A
is
little bit.
that Robbie Thompson, the writer of Charlie, the creator of the character, he wrote himself in this character. He just happened to make her a lesbian woman. But at the same time, when they were looking for like dream casting, they were like they wanted a Felicia Day type. He wrote it for a Felicia Day type and in mind. And the showrunner at the time, Sarah Gamble, was like, "Well, why don't we try to get her?" Which is to my benefit. I'm so glad I did say yes, and they asked me.
Well, yeah, definitely. And was it always the goal to act?
Yeah, I would have wanted to be an actor. I did a lot of theater when I was a kid. My aunt was a professional stage actor, so I did a lot of theater. I
Okay.
moved around a lot. I did a lot of community theater, and I started doing more professional work after college. My dad was like, "You got to get a real
Mhm.
degree," so I got a math and a music degree, and I was like, "Bye, I'm going to go try Hollywood." It was not easy. It was not. It was a very rough transition. I wrote actually an autobiography called "You're Never Weird on the Internet" that kind of describes how very out of my depth and not suited to this business I actually was and am. But at the same time, I love what I do. I love sort of when I get the opportunity to work, it's always like exactly the job I would pick as a dream job. And Charlie in Supernatural is really the pinnacle of all that.
It's such a privilege that you got to play that role then, really, isn't it?
Well, my career really took off when I defined myself through writing my own
Mm.
work. I wrote a web series called The Guild, which was one of the first kind of scripted things on the internet to take off. I'm actually working on a
Mm.
reunion movie right now because it's our 20th anniversary
That's
in
exciting.
27. So I'm going to
Wow.
crowdfund a reunion movie this summer. But it's, also I just was writing a character that I wanted to play that I wasn't getting auditions for. And so I think
Mm.
that's the great strength in, again, the modern dissemination of entertainment. It's not as easy to get as many viewers, but the people who have a voice and want to see something different, everybody gets a little bit more and a little more depth and a little more dimension to their characters and their content, as long as you don't want it to be like millions of dollars an episode.
Well, no, and obviously some people do, but at the end of the day, art is art, and art is about, you know, expression and putting your I mean, because anyone could put their stuff online nowadays, can't they? And I think that's kind of, there's almost a freedom in that, because there's not the pressure of like, I don't know, having to have a big company fund you. You know, you can do it yourself, and you can put your own work out there without anyone else having to say yes to you, you know?
Yeah, no, it's the eternal question of how do you make your art into commerce, and it's really, really tough. And yes, you can make free content, but who's paying your bills? How do you support that long term? I think Patreon and other like YouTube, and there are a lot of other ways now that people are able to make a living doing it. But to make big scripted content, you have to raise a lot of money. I'm going to have to raise quite a lot of money if I want to make my movie, and hopefully I will. And if not, I'll make it on a different level. But you're right. It is liberating. And I think that people with the great bloat of entertainment, you know, if something's too glossy, then it doesn't feel real. If it's lower fi, it feels like there's a real person and an artist behind it. And that's kind of where Supernatural comes in. You know, like Supernatural was not a hugely budgeted show. It wasn't like Game of Thrones or something. It was about a group of characters who were there for each other, who were family, like literal family, and then also just found family. And it was regular content, and it created a world where we could all just support each other and fight evil. And I'm just like, why can't we just have shows like that again? I think that's why Supernatural is it's more popular now than when it went off the air, because people want that. They want more content. They want more of the characters. They don't need all the CGI and all the effects and the gloss if it's not real.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really interesting to hear it come from someone like yourself, who's obviously in that kind of geek culture, if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah.
You know, like and when I think of that, I think of sci-fi, and I think of CGI, and I think of all these big things. So it's really interesting to hear that come from you. I kind of want to move on now, because I know you've got your graphic novel coming out, The Lost Daughter of Sparta, which, oh my God, it looks so interesting. I was looking at it earlier. It kind of it's like a departure from your other books though, right? And I wonder, like, I'd quite like to know, why was it such a great big departure from the original style of writing you had? And also then what inspired you to write that particular story?
Yeah, it is a labor of love. I started writing it in 2020, and it was because I kind of was cut off from Hollywood. I've been writing and trying to produce a lot of things in Hollywood for many years. I had a company called Geek and Sundry, tried to get bigger budget things done over and over, was told no all the time. And I started trying to tell them stories, and every single time I get close, and then they wouldn't buy it because of one reason or another. And when COVID hit and kind of shut the industry down, it was like the biggest gift to me, because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to tell a story that isn't useful to Hollywood. Like, I don't expect this to get optioned and made into a movie. I just want to tell a story that's really close to my heart. And this story is really close to my heart because I love mythology, and I dove really hard deep into it right around when COVID hit, because I had such bad insomnia, because I had just had a baby and I had a lot of postpartum problems, and I could not read anything stimulating or have caffeine or sugar, and it was just awful. So I read like ancient Greek literature for fun to put myself to sleep. But you know, I stumbled upon a story that felt like there were a lot of question marks on it, a character that I felt like needed a story, and I felt compelled to do it. And the wonderful thing is that if I had still been in the Hollywood mindset of like, is this useful to them? Would this get made? I never would have followed it up. But this is sort of the first step in the liberation of me as an artist to get back to where I think that I make the best content, is just writing something that I feel passionate about, regardless of the venue I tell it, regardless of whether the expectation will be to get on some bigger platform. You know, the Guild was the thing that made me, and yes, it's a broad comedy, and it's like more sitcom-y, and it's about geek culture, but it's still about the characters and about an outsider sort of fitting in. And you know, that's universal in this story as well, but nobody wanted to do the Guild back then. And if I had just stopped at that rejection, then I would never have the career I have. I never would have been on Supernatural. I never would have told the stories that I tell. So every time I'm like, oh, you should have done this to your face, or you should have pitched this story, or whatever, like that isn't the path that takes me on the path that I need to go as an artist to really make the stories, in my life that I think will leave the greatest impact on me and other people. So this is one of those, yeah, people might be like, oh, this seems a little serious. This seems a little more literary. She's trying to be fancy. I'm not trying to be fancy. It's just a really beautiful story that I actually wanted to be able to tell my daughter when she's a little bit older.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a hero's journey for a girl, which we don't have in ancient Greek literature necessarily.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that
Yeah.
so much. That is like, we need more of that in our society, full stop.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope people feel really good about it. I don't know. We'll see. I can't. We'll see. I'm really proud of it.
And well, you should be. And I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering it. I saw they had it on Waterstones, which is our
there is a UK version. Yeah, there's a UK version that hopefully I'll be over in the UK to sign some of those one day. But yes, there is going to be, it'll be released there. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's just touch upon the graphic novel of it all. Like, why not just stop at the novel? Like, just stop at the book, the novel? Why turn it into a graphic novel?
I felt like I was very confused that I wasn't seeing Greek myths done in the graphic novel style, especially with the Odyssey coming out next year, which did not consider in my brain. But it's, mythology is something beautiful that I've been sharing with my daughter since she was like 2 years old. And we were reading more chapter books and, sort of nonfiction books about the mythology. And I kind of wondered why there weren't graphic novels set back then. I was also a little intimidated about jumping into a novel, and I kind of wanted the visual component to accompany this. And I found a wonderful artist, just picked from 1,000 people that I combed on the internet, and she's so perfect for it. So my next book will definitely be a novel. I mean, this has taken over 5 years to get done, so I think I could do a novel in the same amount of time for sure. But I was just a little intimidated. Now I'm a little less intimidated. But yeah, I think the story is beautiful, and I wanted it to be more like a myth. A myth is something a 2-year-old can be read, a 9-year-old can read on their own, a young adult can read, but also an adult. So I wanted it to be a universal story, and I felt like graphic novels really worked in that way.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. They definitely do. I just have one final question for you, and that is there a piece of geek media that you would like to see created that doesn't exist as of yet?
Oh, wow. That's really tough. Oh, I mean, there's so many wonderful things. My passion for years was Fallout, but they finally made it, and it's really good. I'm actually a voice in one of the video games, and I'm like, could you just bring me back? Cool. I play Veronica in Fallout New Vegas. I mean, there's like the Dragon Riders of Pern is always something that I love. And I kind of would love that to see brought to life, a really good dragon story. There are a lot of them. I mean, there's, the Fourth Wing, and there's Temeraire, and there's all these wonderful things. But Dragon Riders of Pern is like so like close to my heart. So I kind of love to see that brought to life. I mean, that would be fun. I mean, I could think of 10 million other ones too, but that one's the one that springs to mind.
I'm sure, but we would be here all day.
It's true.
Wouldn't we?
It's true. I'll come back to a list of about 40 things when I think about it in about an hour.
I love it. I love it. Send us an email. It'd be great.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Felicia, for coming on today. And The Lost Daughter of Sparta is out in March, and you can pre-order it now at whatever bookstore you use, presumably.
Yeah, wherever you want. If you bookshop.org is where I support indie books in the US, but there's also Amazon, Barnes & Noble in the UK, Waterstones, all of it. So yeah, I'm excited.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I can't wait.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.